Hello everyone. I'm just finishing up my homework. I forgot to put my nameplate on, so I'm doing that quickly. Whoever pops on first, let me know if you can hear me or not. That would be great. Hi Dawn. You can hear me. Perfect. Okay. Completely forgot to put my nameplate on. And I didn't do my crossbody strap, but that's okay. I can do that after class. Almost done. How are you today? Hi Diane, how are you? I'm just putting my nameplate on here. Got grease on this. This is a client bag. I can't have grease on it. There we go. Okay. I'm almost prepared. I didn't do my crossbody strap, so that's not going to be done today, but the rest of the bag will be. Oh, who's sewing with me today? What do I need? I'm tired too. I just finished, well, I already sort of taught a class today because I finished filming the Tuesday class bag, but it's done and it is posted. I'm caught up. For someone who was so far behind all month, I am finally caught up. So I'm happy. Oops, don't need that. Let me just clean this up. Okay, I gotta get into Konin bowler bag mode now. Dave just walked in the door, so Coco's gonna be barking for a second, so we'll just let that pass. You finished yours? Oh, that's okay. I think Danelda's going to be joining us. She messaged me earlier and she might be sewing along with me today. Okay, so I have, let's see, Dawn is here. Diane has finished. Hi, Danelda. Yay! And are you sewing with me, Danelda? Or are you watching and then sewing later? All right, Diane, watch for me making mistakes. That's your job today. I finished it. Look how thick that top seam was using pearls. It challenged my cylinder arm, but it got through it. Wouldn't recommend pearls for this one. Okay, so you're watching and sewing later. That's perfectly fine. I can't see this being a full class. We're almost done. So, again, I will be... Ooh, my watch was talking to me. We pretty much just have the main panels, putting it on, and then binding. And I know that we all bind differently, so I'll kind of explain how I do my bias binding. But you do not need to bind the way I do. You can bind this bag in whichever way you prefer to bind. So whether it's with double fold bias tape like I like. I always go with this because I quilted before I made bags, and this is how I learned to bind quilts, so it just stuck. You can use double fold or 1 inch fold over elastic. Make sure it's the 1 inch one though, because I made the mistake once and did 3/4 inch, and that wasn't wide enough. But I know you can buy 1 inch at Fabricland. You could use waterproof canvas. Those are all ones where you could do it all in one step. You can just kind of sandwich it in between and go around because it's all raw edge and they don't fray, where mine is a 2-step type binding. I don't know if I asked you anything, Dawn. I can't remember. Yours went good, Diane? Excellent. Make sure you post pictures. So we will give it a few minutes to see if, who else did we have sewing with us? We had Kathy. Rhonda was sewing this one, but we'll see if she joins us. Wanda was thinking about sewing it, I think. Karen was. And Annie. So we'll just give them going. You didn't make your own binding for quilts? Sometimes I would use bias fold when I was first learning, and then I got lazy and I started using my backing fabric as my binding when I was doing my quilts. So yeah, but the first time I learned to bind was with this, and it was for like mug rugs and stuff. So I mean, I will show you how I do mine. If you have questions, just ask, but don't feel you need to bind the way I do. There are so many different ways of doing it. This is just the way I'm comfortable. And I do have tutorials on how I do this. I do have to do tutorials on how to bind with the elastic and how to bind with the waterproof canvas. So maybe in December, when it's my month off and the classes are pre-recorded, those little things are what I think I might work on, because I will only be working half days in December. Yay! So we'll give it just a couple more minutes and then we will get started. Let me make sure. My room is a disaster, I tell you. Has everybody taken advantage of the coupon codes for October classes, because they expire on the 30th? You like using the waterproof canvas, Diane? I know it's much faster. I need to really just start doing it. I don't work with waterproof canvas that often, so I don't really have a lot of it, but I really should start. I know it's faster. This bag is pretty fast to bind though. It's not too bad at all. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Whew. All right, I think we're ready. So I will be sewing everything on at the flatbed, but I will be doing my binding at the cylinder arm, because I bought the cylinder arm specifically for doing binding and for doing top stitching and stuff. I just find it easier on that, but of course it's completely doable on the flatbed. I do have tutorials on how I do bias fold binding. One is on the flatbed, and I have another tutorial for how I do it on the cylinder arm. So if you decide you want to do it that way, you can. What bags are we doing in October? Okay, Tuesday bag, we're doing the Yasmoda by Country Cow Designs, but you can, if you're not in the Tuesday class, you can still take advantage of the coupon. She gave us a 40% off coupon. So you can find the coupon codes on the Facebook group in the featured section. And then on the Thursday, we are doing, oh yes, we are doing the Adina by Sewing Arts. And that is going to be a very involved bag, holy moly. And we have a 20% coupon code for that one on the Facebook group as well. It's also in the community feed. It's already in the community feed on the YouTube channel here, so you can grab it there. There you go, Don. Even if you think you might make the Yasmodo, go grab it. 40% is a really generous discount. So yeah, the Adina is going to be, I'm excited about it. I really am. I was reading through the pattern yesterday because I'm going to attempt to do both of the tutorials this weekend. I've got my Sojo back hard, so I'm going to try to stay caught up. The Adina does look like a very interesting bag. Sewing Arts has a great eye for bags, and I was so excited when another one got voted in. Speaking of voting, make sure you go and vote for the November bag. That's on the channel. That will be closing on the 30th as well. And then December, I have to come up with, that's the month where it's pre-recorded, because I take July and December off to only work part days. So I will pre-record the classes for that, and it's teacher's choice for those ones. So I think I have an idea of what we will be doing, but that'll come as a surprise closer to the end of October when I announce that, when I'm 100% sure which ones I want to do. So Diane, it's going to be great. I learned so much from the Sewing Arts pattern, so I'm super excited to do it. And I will try to have the tutorials up before the classes. Said I'm finally 100% caught up, except for doing my dad's airplane wing covers. I've set aside Thanksgiving weekend to get those done for him. It's because they don't spark joy in me, so I keep procrastinating and not finishing them. So, all right, well, okay, so if anybody pops on and is sewing along with me, stop me. Otherwise, if I'm going too fast. Otherwise, most of you are just watching and sewing later, so we will just plow through. So let me put this down. I know it's going to do the focus in and out. Let me just fix my camera here. 1 second. my computer restarted and all my settings went out the window. So give me one moment. Because it's dark, I'll make it brighter here in a moment. Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay, so for homework, you're supposed to put your nameplate on, which I've done, as well as do a zipper pocket if you were doing it. And it doesn't have to have an open bottom. It can be shut up like this because we're not turning this bag. And if you are putting the card slots on this side as per the pattern, you would have assembled this in a different way following Joe's tutorial, but I don't like card slots in the insides of my purses. And this bag here is a client order and she didn't want it. So I'm making it as per her specifications and wants. And honestly, this is how I make them. I made the tutorial the exact same way. Okay, so we finished with our gusset, so we can set that aside for now. Now what we want to do is we want to take our front and back panels. We want to make sure that all of our centers are snipped. So I'm just going to fold this in half and snip. I already did on that one because I was lining up my nameplate. And I did see your Konin, Diane, the plaid one. Is that ever pretty? Okay. So the back of my bag, I like to have my zipper pocket on, and so I'm going to take my back, I'm going to put it wrong side up. I'm going to take my lining one and I'm going to put it right side up so they are wrong sides together. I'm going to match up those centers and clip them together. So they'll look like this, wrong sides together. We will do the same with the front panels as well. I can already tell that my lining panels are bigger than this one, but we will trim that up in the end. That would just be bad cutting on my part. You know how it is. See how off I am here. I'm going to trim it up right now. So all I'm going to do is trim this lining panel up so it's the same as my exterior. Oh, look at me. I have, that is base coat. Giardini base coat. Okay, so just make them nice and even so they will be the same. Binding is so forgiving. So forgiving. Thread everywhere. I really need to clean my room. And no, I didn't do it before I went to Orlando. Came home to a messy studio. Okay, so we're going to do these all together. I'm actually just going to trim up this top a little bit too, just because my lining is bigger than my exterior. Like just a little bit. Okay, same with the other side, wrong sides together. Trim up where the lining kind of doesn't match up. This is such a fast sew. It's so satisfying. I have doggy school after class today with Dexter. Dave's been working with him. Again, this is just because I cut my lining too big, so I'm just kind of evening it up. Way too big. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to baste these together. So let me flip over the machines. Flip over to the machines. And just baste these together with somewhere in between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. just want these pieces to act as one single piece together. I love binding. It makes bags go so fast. And it gives them such great structure too. One side, make sure it caught everywhere. And we did. Oh, cocoa beans. We have our neighbor across the street, their water main broke. Their water main line broke. So the city's over there working on that, and Coco just is not happy about it. What to do with a 12-year-old hound dog, hey? She's so grumpy. And I think it brings her joy to bark at that window at the people. I don't know. She's usually quiet. She's not always loud. Sure my stitches are good. Okay. Is he a really good boy now? Dexter, not Dave? He has his moments. Both of them do. Okay. So yeah, you can see it's coming over a little bit. I'm just going to trim it up so they are the same. Okay. So now we want to take, we should have our top and bottom centers marked. Just double check that they are center by matching up these seams, side seams on the gusset. I think we did all this already. That looks good. In the tutorial, I show you how to do a quarter mark seam as well, but it really isn't necessary for this one. It's too small of a bag. Okay, so you want to make sure you get this right. So we are going to do the front of the bag first. So that is the one that has the nameplate on it. And you want to make sure that that is being lined up with the narrow gusset, because the narrow gusset is the front of the bag. Okay, so we're going to do that one first. We already have our centers on these gussets, so we're going to go ahead and line up that center. Now you can see how my lining piece was a little bit short here, maybe it shrunk or whatever, but that's going to fall within that 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and catch that. So I'm not trimming that up, it'll catch that little extra when we do this. So line up right sides together, that center mark, put in some clips. Three or four clips for that top center. Match up that bottom center one. Same thing, my exterior is hanging over by about 1/8 of an inch on that gusset. That's okay because it's going to fall within that seam allowance and you'll never know. That's what sometimes happens with cotton prints, is the cotton prints will shrink up. But as long as it's caught within that seam allowance, we're good. Okay, and now we're going to start easing it around. So let's start along the straight bottom first. Till you get to the corners and they look like they don't fit. But we will deal with that in a moment. So just go for as long as you can go straight until it looks like it doesn't fit. Then do it down the other side as well. So we have to make that gusset want to be round. Okay, work along the top side. Bring it around that curve. Use lots of clips. Make sure your zipper's undone too. That'll make things a lot easier. Okay. working down this side until it looks like it doesn't want to fit. Oh, cocoa beans. She's always noisier when Dave's home too. I don't know. Okay, so where it doesn't want to fit around here, what we're going to do is in the gusset piece, we're going to put little, somewhere in between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch, so scant 1/4 of an inch little snips. And what this is going to do is help the gusset be able to spread out to make it around that corner the best we can. Oopsies. Okay, so you can see when you do that, see how it can spread out a little bit? And then it should be able to get somewhat around that corner. And if it doesn't get all the way around that corner for this one, because I know it doesn't always, we're going to just trim it up. I got to do them a little more. I'm going to do them quite deep enough. Okay. So just get it to spread around the best you can. Now see how it's still not going around part way for me? This happens every time I make this bag. I do not know why. I don't know if it's a pattern piece thing or whatever. So all I do is make sure it looks good on this side and the shape's good through the inside. And then I'm just going to go ahead, follow the shape of the gusset and just trim it up. Shh, no one will know. There we go. I've seen other tutorials do this and they have the same issue and do the same thing. So I don't know. It's on every single one I make, but as long as it looks good in here, can you see right here? That's where we trimmed it up. The shape is really good in there. We're good. Do the same along the other side. Whew, it suddenly just got very warm. Wow. Yeah, exactly, Diane. I don't know. I must be the pattern, but yeah, just trim it. Still turns out just as good, but try to make it go around the best that you can and then just trim off that little bit. You're maybe trimming off 1/4 of an inch, if that. My wrist is going off. It's my mom. Both my parents have, ice cream would help her sort that. Both my parents have COVID for the first time right now. Oh my gosh. They went all this time without catching it and now they have it. So they don't have it too bad, just sore throat and coughing. So, okay. Yes, just make it fit. See again, same amount. Don't know why. Don't know why. So we'll just make it fit. And trust me, it doesn't affect it at all. You just make it fit. Just make sure you're following the same shape. Make it fit. There we go. She fits. Like I barely, like that is all I trimmed off. Like barely anything around that corner. So. Okay, and then we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to sew around here. Once we see if it looks good clipped, and it does, it looks nice and centered, we're going to go sew around there with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Grab a quick drink, one moment. All right, there's such a dry throat. I can use my pretty stiletto. This is what I bought. This is the only thing I bought at So Magical Expo. Oh, and I got a Lauren ruler. That's it. That's all I bought. The vendor fair wasn't super big there for some reason this time, but it wasn't about what to buy for me. It was about meeting all of the amazing people, and it was such a good time. Oopsies. Get in there. Okay. So 3/8 of an inch all the way around. The stiletto is handy around these corners because we don't want it to slide. Just keep that gusset in place as we go around. Also making sure there's no puckers around the corners. If it's going to happen anywhere, it's going to happen around these corners. Because we use such stiff interfacing in there, it sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge because the gusset is so stiff. Just go slow. It'll be fine. You want to make sure along the zipper panel your seam allowance stays nice and even as it possibly can. So just kind of squish it down. Make sure your zipper is staying where it needs to be. Find the narrow side the hardest one to sew, just because there's not that much space and the zipper kind of wants to pinch in on itself. So just take it slow and make sure it's nice and flat. I got the stiletto from Hannah Woodworking. She had some beautiful stuff. I wish I had bought some more of her tools. They were pricey though. This one was $33 US to buy, but it is gorgeous. And it's got a seam ripper on the opposite side. So it's a multi-use tool. And I lost my 2 stilettos. Don't know where they went. Probably fell in the garbage. So I was in need of another one. So why not get a glittery one, right? Okay, coming around the bottom. Again, careful around the bottom curves here. Do your best not to have any puckers. Oopsies, we're moving. Come here, get back here. I slid a little bit there, but it's not the end of the world. It'll be okay. Okay. So that side done. All right, so once you have that, kind of take a peek. You can see my shape is good. Make sure there's no puckers, that everything was caught. Just kind of run your finger along that seam. She looks perfect, she looks straight. Now we're gonna do the same thing with the opposite side. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna put it right sides together, match up those centers again. And start a clipping. Bottom and then top, and you'll find that this side will be a lot easier just because it's a wider gusset and it'll lay flatter along that zipper. Okay, and do exactly like we did with the opposite side. Move this here. Whoa, sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy. Now, if you find you're having a hard time getting the gusset to go around here, you could also put those little snips along here. Anywhere where there's a rounded edge where you need it to have a little more give, you can always do those little snips. But this top part is I think a gradual enough curve that it's not too bad. So when you get to that corner, okay, again, see, same amount. I'm gonna make my little snips so we can get it around that corner the best that we can, and then we'll trim off the little bit of excess that we may need to. Which I think in Joe's tutorial she does the same thing, so it's all good. Okay. See, and look, it's almost that exact same shape again. See that little itty bitty bit? So we'll just kind of make it fit. Again, very little bit taken off. Okay, opposite side. This is so pretty in the moras. I haven't made one in the moras before. Usually I make these in like a pearl or the glitter, but this client wanted it in this mora, and it is actually elegant looking. It is so nice. I just love how different a bag can look depending on your fabric choices. This one looks really cute in cotton prints too. Okay. Same at the corner. Okay. See, again, almost that exact same shape. It must be something with the pattern piece. Warmth. I think the heater is right above my head, and I think Dave may have turned the heat on for the first time this year. Okay, so now we're going to go and do the same thing and sew around that edge with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. Don't be scared to squish it a little bit. Oops, I'm throwing clips on the floor. Around the corner, stiletto helps. Make sure it's sitting nice and flat. On any puckers. Looks like I have shifted by like 1/8 of an inch. Not worried about it. I'm just going to trim that 1/8 of an inch off. Again, binding is very, very, very forgiving. As long as you're not so far off, it's changing the shape of the bag. The hardest thing about this part is because we did use that Decovil Heavy, it does make it a little bit harder just to kind of manipulate that fabric. So you kind of got to just take it slow to make sure you don't have any puckers. Just make sure your needle is down before you adjust. in there. There we go. If you don't have a stiletto, a screwdriver works just as good as a stiletto too. It's just not as pretty as this glittery stiletto. Come on, squish out of the way. There we go. Just. And again, it's that Decovil Heavy that makes it. There we go. Once you have the seam in place, you are golden. Not too. Is it too much? There we go. It always helps to use a matching thread just in case it shows. I'm using a mustard thread and there's lots of mustard in this print, so it works out good. Okay, so I'm just going to take a peek inside. Shape looks good. It's all caught, but you can see in certain areas like here is where I slipped a little bit, and I'm just going to go and even it up like so. The shape is good, so we are good. All right, and now it is time to bind it. So I will have to change my thread onto my cylinder arm, but we'll get this started first. So again, just double check that it is good, because once it's bound, you are pretty much committed. So that is the last step of this. I was so happy to find this double fold bias tape at Fabricland. Look how perfect it matches. So perfect. Okay. So for the double fold, we want to open it up and we're going to fold it in that raw edge by an inch or so. Doesn't have to be exact. And then we're going to match. Which way do I want to do this? Okay. I like to start it on this side here. So when it goes to fold it over, I can make sure I'm covering up that line. I just find that this is part of the inside of the bag that people are going to see the most. So you want that to be the neatest side, even though it'll probably still turn out neat, but just in case you have a mishap. So you have it folded over like that. We have it opened up in the raw edge here, and we're just going to clip the binding, matching up raw edge to raw edge on the gusset side with the binding and the gusset right sides together. And again, if you were doing, you could also just fold it over like so if you wanted to, but I'm too chicken to do that. So this is just how I like to do it. So bind it however you like. This is just how I like to bind it. I know everybody has different binding techniques. But the way I do it does have an extra step. Whereas if I were just to wrap it around, it would be done in one go. But I do it in 2 goes. Never had much luck with the other way. I have used fold over elastic once and I really like that, but that stuff is so expensive to buy in a 1 inch width. Like I think for 1 meter at Fabricland it was like $4, whereas you get 3 meters for $3 of the bias tape. So cost wise this is better. If I had waterproof canvas but I don't carry a lot of it, then yeah. Hi Arnetta! You like the way I bind the bag? Thank you. Now, Arnetta, are you the one I met at So Magical? I met an Arnetta at So Magical. Is it you? Or was that a different Arnetta I met? I met a lovely Arnetta at So Magical. She was just lovely. Okay, and then you want to kind of bring it past. You're going to cut it like so and continue it in like so. I'm going to go ahead and I'm also going to do the other side at the same time because we're going to end up sewing that, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it on this side too so we can do it all. You are the one. Yay! Yay, Arnetta and I met. We talked a long time at So Magical. I forgot to ask you there if you were the Arnetta in class. I was a little bit shy. Yeah, we met each other. We talked for a long time. Me and Arnetta and Anna. It's so nice to sometimes be able to put that name to that face. Met so many people at So Magical. It was really a good day. It was so great meeting you. I think we kept getting in people's ways because we're just standing there talking, but hey. Did you decide on a machine, Arnetta? I know you're asking a lot of questions. Did you decide if you're going to go a heavy duty machine or are you going to splurge and get an industrial? I know you were contemplating what to do. I can't remember if Arnetta and I took a picture. Did we take a picture, Arnetta? I don't remember. There were so many pictures that day. I didn't get one on my phone. You hope I can come next year? Well, we'll see how well I recover from my flights this year. Okay, y'all know the drama I had going where I got delayed like 14 hours. And my luggage, well, WestJet still thinks my luggage is lost, but it ended up making it over customs and the border without me. And thankfully, Anna just stole it, so that's good. But on the trip home, all my flights to Calgary got canceled. WestJet canceled them. I'm like, what? So I managed to find connecting flights with United Airlines. So I ended up getting to go to Houston, Texas. I didn't get to fly to Toronto with Anna, which was sad. Oh, that's right. You said you didn't have space for an industrial. That's too bad. Heavy duty will do you fine then. I loved my Juki 2010Q. But yeah, I got to go to Houston, and I was scared I wouldn't make that connection because I only had a half hour to find my way, and it's a big airport. But yeah, I got home okay. Oh, we didn't get a picture. Why didn't we get a picture? We were too busy visiting, I guess. Okay, so I've got it onto both sides, so I'm going to take this to my cylinder arm. So if you were on your flatbed, you could do it the same way as we stitched around and stitch around all the way there. And I do it just slightly below a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, somewhere in between a 1/4 and a 3/8 this way. But because I'm going on my cylinder arm, I'm going to actually do it the same way, but it's just a little easier to do on the cylinder arm. So I have to switch my thread over, so bear with me. I'll put you guys up to face so you can kind of see what I'm doing, but not. Because I'm switching machines. I've already got my bobbin loaded into my cylinder arm. I just got to do my thread into my cylinder arm. So I apologize. You're going to see my back for a moment while I do this. Because I only have one spool of the mustard thread. Get in there. And you can see me on my tiptoes because my machine is so tall and I'm so short. There we go. Okay. I'm a fast threading at this machine. Both machines thread the same way and I'm one with the machine. As long as my hands are working. almost there. Get in there. I guess I should turn it on. We're almost done. And then I'll have to adjust my camera so you guys can see what I'm doing here. So just bear with me. This is what happens when we're live. At least when I'm doing the tutorials, I can turn the camera off and then come back, but I don't want to turn you guys off. Oopsies, let go of that. There we go. What the heck am I doing here? Oh, the pressure of threading a machine when you know everybody's watching you. All right, almost there. Perfect, okay. Okay, let me adjust my camera. What are you saying? Yes, the Juki is a very popular machine. I was actually going for a Juki 1541 when I got my Titan. My Titan is the Canadian version of the Thor machine. And I can tell you right now, in Canadian dollars, it was $700 cheaper than getting a Juki. So, because it didn't have the Juki name brand, and it's the same as the Juki 1541 pretty much. So, I chose the Titan because it was pretty much the same machine and I saved some money. So, okay, so I'm going to be giving you guys kind of a weird view here for a moment. Okay. I gotta move this camera over this way, whee, and bring it up a little bit. I apologize for how dark it is. I really need to get Dave to put a light on this side of the room for me for filming because I moved my studio space around. Let me sit here to make sure I don't block the view when I'm sitting at it. I think we're okay. All right, so let's bind this up. Okay, so I won't be able to see the chat for a moment while we do this. I'm going to sew both sides with a kind of a scant 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. So in between 1/4 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch along both sides. I'm going to start right where, just before that raw edge of my binding is. So I'm going to get it in there, and put it down. Okay, let's do this. Back stitch and work your way around. I feel spoiled because I have both machines. I guess if you wanted the best of all worlds for an industrial, you would just get the cylinder arm, because I do have a table for this one, but because my stand sits so high and I'm so short, it's not super comfortable for me to sew at. But I'm short. I'm only 5'2". Arnetta knows. Dawn knows. They've met me in person. I'm just little. Make sure everything is staying where it needs to stay. Well, Arnetta, I'm bummed we didn't get a picture. I don't believe they didn't take a picture. We visited for, like, I swear, an hour. Oh, well. Maybe next time. Probably will never teach at it, mainly because I don't want to have to worry about work visas, but it was fun helping Lauren out in her class. Lauren invited us to hang out in her open sew with industrials. She had some Thors and some Jukis in there, so that was a lot of fun. Got to hang out with Lauren. Should have to worry about puckers too much because you're sewing like within or right on the seam allowance we already sewn. So, okay, that is one side done. So I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite side. Again, I can't see the chat. I will catch up as soon as I get back to the machine because my back is to you. Do the same with the opposite side. Make sure you have a full bobbin when you're doing this, just because it's very frustrating to sew all the way around binding and then realize that you ran out. Trust me, ask me how I know. Been there, done that. Arnetta is one of the lucky people that got to have the early announcement of mine and Anna's news. I think the only one in this chat that doesn't know is Danelda. Anna and I, Anna of Galaxy Customs and I have started a pattern business. And we have our first pattern releasing on October 14th. It went through testing well. Actually, Diane and Dawn are testers of ours, and they have made the bag too. So we're super excited. We hope that everybody else will be as excited for our design once we release it as well. We like it. And Anna and I will be going live on Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time to do the official announcement. But I think the members of my channel can have the inside scoop. Anna told me I could too. So we're excited. We'll have sneak peeks coming up soon. Little teaser pictures. So we need all of the luck we can get. Can you guys see how much easier it is to do binding on a cylinder arm? You just have a little bit more motion or ways you can move the bag. Less fiddly. You could do the same on a free arm machine. Similar to that. Just like a free arm with power. It's like the Hulk of free arm machines. Oops. Tommy's getting away on me a little bit. Come on. Tommy and I aren't friends very often. I usually am playing on Tiffany. So yeah, those of you that don't know, my cylinder arm's name is Tom and my flatbed is Tiffany. After some 80s kind of groups, Tiffany and Tommy Page. All right. Okay. Let me... Let's see here. It's awesome, yes. Yeah, I hope you guys will like it. We do have a sewing group started. I didn't mean to switch that to my desktop view. We do have a sewing group started, so make sure you hop on over there to do it. If you are on my Beans Bag Facebook group, there are links to it in that group. So join our business page and join our sewing group, and that's where the sneak peeks are going to happen. So yeah. What am I doing? Split table. Oh my gosh. I'm a hot mess. Let me go. Come on, cameras. There we are. Okay, so we got the first side all sewn on, and now we need to flip the binding over. So starting, okay, that side that we had folded in a 1 inch, we're going to kind of take this other one that's on the inside, just kind of set it on the inside, fold it over so that raw edge is into the middle, and then bring it over that edge. And you want to pin it, clip it in a way that it's covering up the thread on the other side or close to it. And then put clips on. So now that I have that kind of in place, I'm going to just pull my binding up like so. Yes, you are allowed to say that, Dawn. It's killing Dawn that she can't share it. So I'm just going to make sure, kind of tug at this and make sure it's all good. And this is where you can see I have a little bit of stitching here showing, but it's nice and straight and it kind of blends in and you can't see it. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. So we're going to work on that and we're going to fold this over so all the raw edges of the binding are underneath. And clip it around. Easy peasy. Pin it up pattern. Dawn, do you want to put, can you put the link at the group in it? If you go to my Facebook group, the link should be in there. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yes, so we need to spread the word. So we have kind of let out that we are doing it. We haven't shown the bag yet. We're just finished testing and Anna and I are working on the final edits this weekend. All the testers are taking their pictures. What am I doing? Okay, I'm doing okay. For our inspiration page. We're an all-Canadian group, all Canadian testers, all Canadian designers. And we just hope everybody likes it as much as we do. There's the group right there. Thank you. Is that the sewing group, Dawn, or is that the business page? So you can kind of see how this envelopes that raw edge. It gives it a nice look. Now, if your stitching on this isn't perfect, it's going to be hidden in the seam, in the crease of the binding, so not a big deal. But I do suggest using thread the same color as your binding, just in case. If you use a contrasting thread, it's going to show. What was that link? Was that for the business page? I'm going to click it. Okay, yeah, so like that page, that is the business page. We need likes there as well. So our patterns will be sold through the Galaxy Kustoms website. So it's a partnership between Anna, which Arnetta has met as well. So is Dawn. Dawn's met Anna as well. And myself. Okay, so I'm doing the opposite side, same thing. So yes, we need a like on that page and we need a join on the group side. Dawn is also an admin for the sewing group, so she knows all the things. I'd grab it, but my hands are busy binding right now, so. This bag is pretty. Okay, let me just make this look a little bit neater here. It's not quite neat enough for my liking. So you should have no raw edges showing at the join or anywhere. They should all be folded under. Otherwise the binding will fray because it is just fabric. Okay, so now I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to follow along within. Oops, that still doesn't look right to me. Let me fix that some more. We want to follow along in there. One sec. Kind of like top stitching, 1/8 of an inch away from the folded over edge of the binding, and then that'll completely bind our edges. I'm just gonna kind of make this tighter. I want it to look perfect. Get in there. What are we doing? It's being fiddly. Okay, I see what I'm doing. There, and there. Fold over. There we go. Make sure it all gets caught in there nice and tight. There we go. Okay, so let's go and finish binding this up. Let me right here. Okay, so I'm just going to start just before where the join is because I want to catch that right away so it doesn't slip. You can see how I'm putting my presser foot just like I'm top stitching that binding. And it shouldn't be more than a 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Make sure you catch all of that binding edge. There we go. Enclosing all raw edges of the binding and of the bag. Kind of make sure it's staying nice and tight on there. Use a stiletto if you need to. Again, if your stitches aren't like super straight, it's okay because it's going to be hidden within the crease, within the seam. But try to make it as nice as you can. Just make sure you're catching everything. I love binding. I really do. I want everybody to love binding as much as I love binding. And sometimes binding, like this is giving that pop of yellow that's like bringing the exterior color to the inside, which is kind of nice too. Or you can make it exactly the same color, or you can make your own binding if you're doing it this way with the lining fabric, so it's completely fluid and looks the same. Okay, and that's one side done. Now we can do the other side. Easy peasy. Flip it over, rinse and repeat. Where did my other thread go? There it is. Let's get in there good. So I always start right where they join, just because that's the fiddly part. So you want to make sure it is good. Make sure it's all tucked in good there. And we are. It's time to shift. There we go. So the step I'm doing right now is the extra step because I didn't just fold it over. I sewed it on and then I folded it over. And I do that mainly so it doesn't shift and I miss a side because I get so frustrated if I miss a side, and I always seem to. So this is what works for me. Perfecto. Okay, I can shut Tommy down. You're not a fan of binding either? Oh, my camera is doing its weird thing again. Hi, Kim. How are you feeling? No worries. I wasn't even expecting you today. I thought you weren't quite going to be feeling up to it just yet. Arnetta, there are two links. The first link was the link that will take you to mine and Anna's business page, and the second link will take you to our sewing show-off group. Kim, did you see that Anna and I started a pattern company? Yay! We're announcing it officially on Monday. So, okay, so there's my binding. So you kind of want to just go along and make sure, just kind of lift up along that side of the binding and make sure there's no raw edges of the binding hiding. And we're good. Look how good it looks. Once it looks like everything is attached well, go ahead and turn it right side out. This bag is a perfect learning how to bind bag because it turns out easy. It's not too much to bind. It's a perfect learning how to bind bag. Now it doesn't take this much effort to turn it out. My carpal tunnel's acting up a little bit today because I've been working too much, so I might have to take tomorrow off before I start next month's class bags. I've been working pretty hard since I got home, so my wrists aren't working out so much. Kim, did you join the group, the show-off group? I hope so. We're pretty excited. Okay. I think I had an easier time turning the glitter, but I had full wrist strength at that point. My wrists are not happy today. It's probably a good thing tomorrow's grocery shopping day. Take a break from the studio. I do not like magic loop knitting. I hate it. Yes, I will, Dawn, I promise. It's the first time my wrists have bothered me in a while. They're just tired. Tired. Okay. Again, and this is a little tougher just because it does have that Decovil Heavy and everything, but you can see it's coming out okay. Push out all your seams. Make sure everything looks good. Oh, she's pretty. I think my client is going to love it. Now, my Decovil Heavy hasn't pulled away, but if you notice it has, just heat up your ironing mat with your iron and then lay it down like this. Put your hand inside the bag and just kind of put some pressure on it and it should restick. You could have come and helped me, Diane. Next time you're out west, Diane, we will have to try to meet up. Vancouver's a little bit far for me. That's still 3.5 hours. But I do go there sometimes. Well, quite often. Not in the winter time because I don't like driving the Calla. In the winter, oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. I'm so happy with it in Mora's. I got to kind of straighten my nameplate a little bit, I think. That's okay. There we go. Kind of massage out all those seams. So, see, look at the binding. You barely even see it in there. And if you do, it's just like it's a pop of color. Can you even see it a little bit? Got our pocket in there. I would attach my crossbody strap, but I'm a bad girl and I didn't finish my crossbody strap. But seriously, guys. How adorable. Just kind of massage those seams. Decovil Heavy is definitely the way to go for the interfacing in this, though. It is so good. So good. She is done. I hope my client likes it. This was her vision. And look, we finished all of that within an hour. So look how tiny it is. Let me grab the glitter one and you guys can see how different it is based on your fabric choices. So I did the tutorial bag in glitter vinyl, and it looks completely different than this one. This one looks so classy and this one looks so fun. Pretty, hey? I think so. So yeah, so this one is going to my client once I finish the crossbody strap. But I must say, I love it in the softer vinyls like the Mora. This is gorgeous. I've always only made it in pearls and glitters. This is gorgeous. Can you imagine this in the Leopard Luxe by Galaxy Customs? Oh my gosh. I might have to make one. I have some Leopard Luxe. I have some pink Leopard Luxe actually. It's turned out so good. So good. That's it. That's it for Konin school. Yay, we graduate. Yeah, mustard yellow. This is the mustard Mora from Emmaline bags. And said, so here you can kind of see how my Decovil Heavy kind of creased. So what I'll do to straighten that out is I'll heat up my wool mat a lot, put my hand inside, and I will put it on my hot wool mat and put pressure on it, and it will get all those creases out and make sure that Decovil Heavy is stuck down really nice. So, yay! Super fast though, hey? Like, let's see. Our first cutting, it was 3 hours, you guys. That was it. Our first cutting class, our first class, we cut it out within 45 minutes. Second class, I think we were done. I think we were done early too. And then this class is only an hour. That's only 3 classes. So I would say 4 or 5 hours so cut to finish. So good. So satisfying. So fast. And a great way to practice your binding. I strongly encourage you, if you want to learn how to bind, watch some YouTube tutorials to find out your favorite binding method. You know mine is with the bias tape, but there are lots of other methods as well. And give it a go. This is the perfect bag to practice that binding on. Yay! Speaking of that, for those that have joined us late, make sure you take advantage of the coupon codes for October's bags, the Yasmoto by Country Count Designs for Tuesday, and the Adina bag by Sewing Arts for Thursday. Everybody, regardless if you're in the Tuesday class or the Thursday class, you can all take advantage of that coupon code, but it does expire on the 30th. So the Yasmoto, Joe gave us 40% off, and Sewing Arts, she gave us 20% off. So. All right. Any questions? I hope it means you guys are going to make these. I need pictures to do the end of the year movie. If I don't have pictures, I'm not going to do the movie. So make some for me, please. I've got mine and Diane's pictures for this one already. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I guess we're going to call it, and I can go and have an early dinner because my stomach is growling, and then it's off to puppy school for Dexter, Dave, and I. Yay, obedience school. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining me and sewing with me, and I will see you next week for the October classes. I'm hopeful I will have the cutting video tutorials done for sure by cutting class, and I'm hopeful to have the tutorials done as well. I'm finally caught up. Like, I've been so far behind for a month and a half, and I think it's because Anna and I have been designing that bag and working hard on it, and still working full-time, so yay! All right, yes, so get your friends to join the Pin It Up Sewing Group page, and also to like the Pin It Up Patterns business page. because we will be having some teaser pictures coming up soon. And yeah, it'll be launching October 14th. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you on Tuesday or Thursday next week. Oh, no. Join us Monday. Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Anna and I are going to be going live together to do our official announcement. So we'll give you all that stuff. Oh, I hope you could do the country cow bag too, Kim. That would be awesome. All right. Good night, everybody. Bye.